In this video, you are in luck because I'm going to give you a sneak peek at some of my absolute best content about how to sell a coaching program. Part 1, the 9 pillars of sales as service. So before I get into this very juicy content, I want to share with you a little bit about why you should listen to me, why I know what I'm talking about. I've been in business now for, 14 years as of this video. And before that, I was in sales for many years, which means that when I started my business, I thought I was pretty darn good at sales. So good, in fact, that I actually did sales trainings. But I tell you this because it wasn't until about 7 years ago that I started to really dive into a whole new paradigm for sales that my sales really went through the roof. And so the foundation of this is the learning that I had that transformed the way that I look at sales, transformed the way I show up in sales conversations, and I'm hoping has the same effect for you. So the first thing is a real game changer. I call it sales as service. Now, in that old life where I did art sales, magazine ad sales, real estate sales. I sold all sorts of things. And I always knew that if I needed to, I could always get a job selling used cars or something. But the way that I approached sales back then was very different. It was very traditional. The idea was you get in front of a prospect, your job is to sell. Always be closing. And the way that I was taught to do sales was doing things like overcoming objections and doing takeaway sale and all these manipulative tactics. Now, those tactics can work, but what I believe, especially for coaches and speakers and authors and influencers and experts, that we're enrolling people into these programs where we're going to have to work with them for a month or 3 months or a year. We want better quality clients and we want better quality relationships. So sales as service is completely different. In this process, you approach sales as a piece of your value proposition. It's a step on your value ladder or your delivery of services to clients. So the point is that when people do a sales call with you, whether they purchase from you or not, either way, they're going to get value. That's what sales as service is. And what it does is it sets you up for the long game. Number one, it also sets you up for the short game, which means that it sets you up for making a sale to an appropriate client who's a great fit right here, right now. And it sets you up, if they're not a great fit right here, right now, to deliver a beautiful, powerful, valuable experience for them so that they refer you business, they give you a speaking engagement, they call you later when and if they are ready. So sales as service is the foundation of this new way that I approach sales. Number 2, it's not about you. And it's not even about the thing you're selling. It's about them and what they need and what they want. So in a really great sales conversation, which by the way, I have videos about how to actually have these conversations. You can check them out in my sales playlist. And also there's a specific video about how to run a strategy session. But first you have to understand these foundational underpinnings before you go and jump into the tactics. The purpose of a great sales conversation is to uncover someone's vision and the pain or the obstacle or the problem that's in the way of getting to that vision. And then what you're trying to do on a sales conversation, when done with integrity and from this sales as service philosophy, is you're trying to help them make that commitment to move through and past that pain, make the decision to step into that vision, what it is that they want, what do they want to create in their life, in their business, or whatever type of service that you offer. And the goal is also to identify if they're not a fit. And if they're not a fit, to not make an offer to them and to not try to enroll them just so that you can make a sale. Number 3, you're the buyer. I know that sounds weird, right? You think, well, I'm the seller, they're the buyer. But here's actually, in a great sales conversation, when you're enrolling someone into that vision, when you're operating from service, you're the buyer. And what you're buying is their commitment and their fitness, meaning their commitment to doing their part of the work. Because if you're selling a coaching program, you are not the only one that has to show up in that relationship. You are not the only one that has to do in that relationship. You need to make sure that if you're going to bring 100%, they're going to bring 100%. That's why you're the buyer and you're buying their commitment. And so the conversation, when run well, and when you follow the format that I give you in the other videos, is an opportunity for them to sell you on their fitness and their commitment. When I say fitness, I mean that they are a right fit for you, your values, your culture, your program, process, signature system, whatever it is. Make sure that it's a right fit. So actually, you're the buyer. The next one, number 4, is that enrollment is sacred. Enrollment is sacred means that people invest in what they value. When it comes to coaching, they're investing in a vision for themselves, for their life, for their business. And that investment is sacred because they're putting it towards something they hold dear, this desire that they have. And so it's not only sacred for them, that investment, it's also sacred for you, the one receiving that investment, because you are taking on the responsibility of leading them to that outcome. So often in the coaching space, it's just about selling programs and butts in seats and conversion rates and closing. And what I invite you to consider is that as a great coach, as the best kind of coach, the ones that get the best results, you have discernment about who you enroll, and you treat that sacredly. You treat it as a sacred contract. Really, when I say sacred contract, like a soul contract, like I'm going to support you. I'm going to show up 100%. I'm not going to let you down. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. And that person being able to receive that. And so in a great sales conversation, you are setting the foundation for that kind of a relationship, not the usual typical kind of business transaction, but a true meeting of minds and hearts and souls to create some outcome. So before I get to the next 5 points that I have for you, I want to share that if this is appealing to you and you have a coaching or consulting or other type of expert business and you want to up level, you want more money, more freedom, more joy, more fulfillment, better outcomes, then I have got the treasure trove for you, and that is my coaching business YouTube playlist. And I invite you to go check it out. You can click on the link below. Now, the next few points, I want to give credit where it's due, and that is to one of my friends, colleagues, mentors, Ben Skemper of Abundant.is. He is a sales master, and he coaches and leads around sales. And I learned some of these points from him. So the next one is one of my favorites because it rhymes. Offers are to be accepted or rejected, but not collected. What that means is that there are 3 outcomes generally, I can't imagine any others, from a sales conversation. A yes, a no, a maybe. And in the past, or in the old paradigm, the idea is that a yes is the best, a no is the worst, and a maybe is somewhere in the middle. But offers are to be accepted or rejected, not collected, means we don't want maybes. We want people to finish that call and make an empowered decision, either a no or a yes. A no can be an empowered decision because they're choosing no, they're declaring no, or maybe even saying not right now. A maybe is wishy-washy. A maybe is let me think about it, I don't know, I'm not sure. And generally that means either the client is not a great fit or you didn't do a great job of leading them through that conversation. So the idea is we don't want to collect a lot of maybes, a lot of to follow-ups, a lot of names on a list that we've got to text and call and email and hey, do you want to talk again? What do you think? The idea is it's better to have a yes or a no rather than a maybe. Even a no is better than a maybe. Now, if somebody's not ready, that's okay. You can always do what I do, which is say, all right, well, when do you think you might be ready? When would be the time frame that this might work for you? Let's go ahead and set up a time to talk. Now, if they're not willing to set up that time to talk, or if they cancel that time to talk, which happens, then chances are they weren't a right fit, and you can let them go with grace and ease. So remember, we don't want to collect offers. We want to get clear outcomes. And by the way, my sales process, my sales strategy session structure teaches you how to make sure that you get that yes or no, make that decision without being pushy. The next point is that sales equals leadership. Now, we don't often think about sales as leadership, but when it comes to coaching practices, consulting, when clients are looking to us for expertise to help them solve a problem or to create something new, then we need to be able to lead a client. And so what ends up happening a lot of times in sales is that we don't step into that leader role, and that can really hurt the sales process. One way that people often show up in a sales conversation or a sales relationship is as less than, as down here. Like, I'm here and the client is here because the client has the money, the client gets to make the decision, client has all the power. The problem with that dynamic is that it's very difficult to lead a client from down here. Now, another way people show up is as colleagues, as equals, as friends. Hey, buddy, right? Let's golf together, right? That's this kind of relationship. And that can lead to business, but it's generally not as powerful as when we show up in the sales relationship as the leader of the call or the leader of the sales process. And so there are a lot of different ways to do that. I share them in my strategy session structure, but one is to essentially at the beginning of the call, just take ownership of the call. What I do with people when I get on the phone with them, and if you've ever gotten on a strategy session with me, you know I do this. I say, the way I like to run these calls is. So right, just by saying that, I've established like I'm running this call. And if somebody gives me a hard time with that, then I know it's going to be either difficult to lead them or I need to find another way to lead them. So we want to show up as the leader of the sales process. Because, and here's the next point, how we sell is how we serve. In other words, if we don't show up as the leader in the sales process, then it's going to be very difficult to show up as the leader in the delivery process. So however we show up in the sales process, that's the energetic that's been established already with the client. And so we want to establish that energetic from the beginning that will allow us to lead them all along the way. And let me just say one little thing about this, because sometimes I hear pushback on this. This doesn't mean that you're better than somebody. It doesn't mean you think that you're above them as a human. It just means in this particular area, you have this expertise that they need, and you're going to guide them to help them get the result that they want. Number 8 is kind of related to numbers 6 and 7, which is either they're taking you through their buying process or you're taking them through your commitment process. It's related to leadership because essentially if you let the client take over the sales process, then the client is going to run the show all the way through. And so what the goal is, instead of you answering their questions and creating a proposal and doing all the things they want you to do, you lead that sales process. And the whole point of it is not to promote your product, is not to share all the benefits and features of it, but rather to see how committed that client is and to help them become more committed. So either they're taking you through their buying process or you're taking them through your commitment process. How committed are you to this vision? How much does it matter? What are the stakes here? How important is it to you? When do you need to do this? How urgent is this? These are all the steps of bringing somebody through to get to a level of commitment where they're ready to say yes. And last but not least, number 9, objections are an opportunity to go deeper. In the old paradigm of sales, objections are bad. You don't want them. They are something to be overcome. There's something to be gotten rid of. In this world, in this new paradigm, an objection is an opportunity for you to get to know more about your client's needs and how you can serve them. Because a lot of times, the very thing that they object to is the thing that you need to help them with. I'll give you an example. If you're a life coach, and someone is telling you, well, I just don't have enough time for this program, and you know that in this program, you're going to help them get more time, be more proficient, more efficient, more productive, right? Then that same objection is the exact thing that they need to work on. So in my world, the best thing to do with an objection like that is to agree with it, to acknowledge it, to say, I know, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be tough. And I want to bring you back to that commitment you made a minute ago when you told me that this was the most important thing in your life, to be able to spend more time with your family. If you can't do this work, then you're not going to be able to do that. This is the work that's going to actually help you to release time, to be more productive, be more efficient, so that you can have more time with your family, right? And then maybe tell a story about how you took time to invest in something to be able to grow, and then you were able to release time, or one of your clients was. By the way, this is just part 1. If you liked this video, just wait till you get to part 2. I would say it's among my best videos ever. So I highly encourage you to go and check out part 2 of how to sell coaching services. If you like what you're hearing and you like this different approach to sales, and you're a coach, a speaker, an author, a consultant, and you sell your time for money or your expertise, let's connect. I can help you increase your sales and do it with more grace, ease, and integrity. You can do that by setting up a free discovery call with me at superstaractivator.com/go. I look forward to meeting you.